One thing is clear. The walls appear to be closing in on Rudy Giuliani. Even the president has distanced himself in the wake of this week's events. Giuliani is facing two big new problems. First, his two associates were arrested hours after having lunch with Giuliani at a Trump hotel. Second, new reports implicate Giuliani in a scheme to pressure former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson to help get a case against a prominent foreign client dropped. So what happened? I mean, this is the Rudy Giuliani people remember. America's mayor, strength in the face of adversity. How did that guy become this guy? At the Trump hotel with men about to be taken into custody with one-way tickets out of the country. Joining me now is Andrew Kirtzman, author of Rudy Giuliani, Emperor of the City. Now, he has followed Rudy's career for decades. Andrew, you know him quite well and followed him for years. I have to ask you, do you recognize this Rudy Giuliani?
I recognize him, but I think this is a Giuliani who has changed throughout the years, and not for the better, not for the better. And I think, you need a psychologist as much as a political reporter to kind of analyze what exactly has happened to him. I had covered Giuliani for close to a decade, prior to 9/11. And then, as you remember, he became one of the most beloved men on the planet after 9/11. And, he wagered it all on his presidential race in 2008. And it was a disaster. It was a humiliating disaster. He walked away with, I believe, one delegate. And he kind of was out in the wilderness. Donald Trump was his ticket back to relevance. And, he seems having been willing to squander much of his stature and his dignity in service of power and apparently money as well.
But it's odd and counterintuitive that somebody who, as you say, was craving that power, was seen as this really omnipotent presence, was beloved. I mean, you were with him on 9/11. Sure. We have a picture of you with him the day that he was actually there. And there you are right there with him. I mean, to go from that and somebody who was commanding, somebody who was beloved in that way,
right.
Doesn't it seem odd to you that you would then seek out to be a subordinate of somebody with an even larger than life persona and thoughts of being loved?
It's a good question, but he didn't have a lot of options. Donald Trump was, one of the few people who needed Rudy Giuliani. Donald Trump didn't have a big kind of political circle. Giuliani was kind of simpatico and, personality. And again, there weren't a lot of people, calling Giuliani for his help.
Given the fact that Rudy Giuliani, before he was mayor, he was running the SDNY. And so how ironic is it for you now to think about that office looking into his financial dealings with the Ukraine?
Right. It's ironic and it's also very sad. Right. His accomplishments at the Southern District of New York are the stuff of legend. There could still be a powerful mafia in this city if not for Rudy Giuliani. He did extraordinary things as a prosecutor. He did extraordinary things as a mayor. And this is a person who achieved greatness. And for him to have kind of taken this path down towards, I don't know what you want to call it, towards cynicism is a very, very sad thing.
And what made me even sadder, given what you were talking about, is that this fall out of, or the quest to persona non grata at this point with the president, since he came out today, the president, and distancing himself a little bit from Rudy Giuliani. And we saw this reminiscent of what happened with Michael Cohen, who was somebody who also was very close to Donald Trump, but now finds himself in prison. In fact, here's the president even talking about Rudy Giuliani today in a way that we haven't seen yet.
Well, I don't know. I haven't spoken to Rudy. I spoke to him yesterday briefly. He's a very good attorney, and he has been my attorney. Yeah, sure.
So tell me, he's not even his attorney? He doesn't really know? What'd you make of that?
Well, I don't think it's any surprise that Trump is willing to kind of cut Giuliani loose. Giuliani, from what reports say, his business dealings are under investigation. I have no inside knowledge. Is he facing indictment? I don't know. But if Trump is looking at this and wondering whether or not Giuliani is kind of a toxic presence right now, when Trump is, so vulnerable as it is, Trump has never shown a reluctance to cut people loose. And I think if he does, and it seems that he might be on the way towards doing it, that's going to be interesting because Giuliani is not going to be like Tillerson, right, or Mattis, where he goes gently into the night. I mean, he'll go down in flames. He will go down in a blaze of glory. It'll be kind of like a King Kong versus Godzilla thing if they turn on each other.
Of course, Trump and Giuliani's relationship actually goes a long way back. There's actually Giuliani, who famously dressed once and appeared in a video in drag in a roast back in, I think, 2000.
Right.
So what is it that draws these two together?
I mean, I think they're very like-minded gentlemen. I mean, I think there's kind of a megalomania to both of them. I think they both feel that they have cornered truth and morality. And there's kind of a streetwise out-of-borough thing that they learned from their youth in New York City. They get along. They're buds. They're confidants.
Andrew Kirtzman, fascinating. Thank you for being a part of the show. It's interesting to think about what will happen next, and we'll have to just stay tuned.
Sure.